Hello and welcome to a special Cracking the Cryptic, where I will be talking about the Magpie magazine and solving a puzzle from it. Now, this is a magazine that Simon and I set up after the demise of a magazine called Tough Crosswords, when its creator very sadly died about 5 years into his project. His widow mentioned that she had a list of subscribers and somebody else might care to contact them. And in fact, Simon and I, we'd just got to know each other pretty well. And we decided we could set one puzzle a week each and invite some submissions and create a monthly crossword magazine. And for 5 years, he and I ran it as a distribution by post magazine called the Magpie. That came from our crossword pseudonyms, which we'd already created. I was Mr. Magoo, which is partly based on my initials, MR. The beginning of Mark is MA, and GOO is the beginning of Goodliffe. Simon, because of the nursery rhyme connotation, called himself Pieman. And between us, Mr. Magpie and Pieman were Mag and Pie, so Magpie. The magazine flourished very well. You know, we got, I think, 300 subscribers the first year, and it has continued to be a venue where themed advanced cryptic crosswords were created. We originally intended to do, I think we planned to do 4 or 5 every month, but we ended up doing 6 in the first issue, and in fact every issue since then has been 6 or 5. Now, after 5 years, we decided that creating this postal magazine, photocopying it, was getting a bit too much for us to manage. But luckily at that point, some other guys stepped in, and the magazine has gone electronic since then, and that was about 13 years ago. So it's been going, or maybe that was, issue 206. Divide that by 12, and I guess we're talking, we are talking about 18 years of the Magpie. Good grief. Okay, that ages me. Anyway, it is now something that gets distributed electronically, obviously, each month. It costs, let's just have a look down here at the first page, it costs £40 for access to the website and the monthly PDF. That magazine contains 6 crosswords, one of which is a numerical. So let's just flick down to the numerical here. And you can see this is a sort of numerical crossword. This is the style of crossword the magazine has. One of each month. And here, 6 of the letters used in the clues represent the first 6 prime numbers. The other 6 are the square roots of those same numbers. One letter in each adjacent pair in the clues is an integer, and the other is a surd. That's one of the square roots. And you basically have to work out what these 12 letters represent in this puzzle and how that creates the grid, a numerical grid that you complete from the maths equations. That's very difficult as far as I remember. I can't believe we've only graded that C. All the puzzles are graded from A to E, but the other 5 are themed crosswords. So, for instance, you get a preamble with some rules, sort of a rule set, very slightly. Clues to answers that are changed on entry here have a single letter misprint in the definition. Those correct letters will spell the title of a thematic song, and so on. There are multifarious ways in which these grids and clues can be played with. And I thought we would test solve one of them today. So the prize puzzle from this issue, which was from February last year, is called Sum by Vismut, who is a female compiler who has started in the Magpie 2 or 3 years ago, and we award one puzzle this Magpie accolade each month when it really is very classy. Now, B grade means it's slightly easier than average for the magazine, but be warned, it's not going to be very easy. This magazine is for people who kind of like their cryptic crosswords spicy and like finding themes, and that's what always happens. So we're going to have a go at this one. I have created the grid in my gridding software here, and I mean, obviously I am an editor of this magazine, although Simon's dropped out largely. I still have seen every puzzle before they get published. This one I will have solved first 18 months ago. Now, I solve a lot of puzzles. I am not going to remember much about it, although I have to admit, remember kind of what the final theme that's revealed is. So I'm going to solve it as if from scratch again. I probably won't go much quicker through the clues than I would have done, but I might tumble to the ending more quickly than is absolutely fair in a blind solve. So bear that in mind, but solve it along with me if you will, or jump to the end if you'd like to see kind of how it all works out at the end and you're not that interested in individual clues. If you are interested in subscribing to the Magpie, you can see the address here is www.piemag.com. I think we took that because magpie.com had gone. And check out the subscription information there and how to do it. You would be very welcome. And it really is an entertaining feed. I remember one subscriber who said he started because of the numerical crosswords, but then he had a look at some of the word puzzles and gradually became an absolutely dedicated aficionado of cryptic crosswords just because of an interest in numericals originally. So it can work either way around. Some solvers just get it for the word puzzles and don't try the numerical each month. But lots like to try everything and like to get a fully correct issue, which is quite a feat. And getting a fully correct year is extremely hard. Amongst our subscribers, only 2 or 3 on average do that each year. It really is a significant effort to not only solve all the puzzles, but to then actually enter them all correctly without making any errors as well. Proves pretty hard for people. Now, so let's have a look at Some by Vismut. So first thing to do, as always, is read the preamble carefully. The wordplay in 37 clues. Now the numbering goes up to 39, so there are clearly more than 37 clues, probably about 41 or 2, I would guess. The wordplay in 37 clues leads to the answer along with an extra letter that is not entered in the grid. So a crossword clue, cryptic clue, let's go back to basics, is made up of a definition and some wordplay that will give you the answer by an anagram, a second definition, a mixture of things, a reversal, insertion, deletion, anything like that. We'll see a lot of examples as we go along. But here there's an extra letter in that wordplay that we don't put in the grid and isn't in the defined answer. Now in clue order, these extra letters spell out a hint to the characters who run clockwise around the perimeter of the grid. That's why the outside of the grid, there aren't really any entries and no numbering for the long acrosses and downs as they apparently are. It's clearly a clockwise succession of characters. Now, characters can mean different things in these puzzles. It can sometimes mean letters and numbers. They are characters. It can sometimes mean personae in a work of some sort, be it music or drama or film or something like that. Now the remaining 4 clues contain, I see, okay, so we know that there are 41 clues, 37 have this extra letter. The remaining 4 clues contain an extra word that must be removed before solving, which indexes the position of the letter to be chosen from the answer, e.g. the 4th word in the clue, you take the 4th letter of that word. In clue order, these 4 letters, presumably, spell out what is to be replaced by what in 3 answers so that they will fit into the grid. So 3 answers originally don't properly fit into the grid, thereby revealing the theme, 7 cells, which must be highlighted. Numbers in brackets refer to the lengths of grid entries. Now that's a little phrase that gets used when some word is the wrong apparent length for its entry. So that's what will be going on. Now let's go down to the clues here and we can have a go at those. I can't quite position these so we can get them all in, but we'll work on that as we go along, and I'll just move them across here so that we've got room for the grid. There we go. And let's just crack on with the clues. So number 1 is a down clue. Ian's smoothed atmosphere over demand. Ian's is often shorthand in this sort of puzzle for a Scottish word. And that's because Chambers Dictionary, which we use and which I will call up during this solve, there's no real cheating in these puzzles, I don't think. You can use Chambers Dictionary, you're expected to. You can probably use word matchers and just get to the end and find out what's going on and do it correctly. That's really all we're looking for. Anyway, so probably we're looking for a defined answer that means smoothed in a Scottish dialect, according to Chambers. Atmosphere over demand. Well, there are two interesting Scottish words that I'm familiar with, airt and airn. And airt means direction, I think, something like that. And airn means iron. You can kind of hear it in a Scottish accent. If something was made of airn, it would be iron. And I think that works here fine. So atmosphere can be air. And this is the key to solving crossword clues. You're always looking for short synonyms of bits of the clue. So air for atmosphere. Demand, earned as the answer works. And that's because to smooth something with an iron is to iron it. So if Ian did that, he earned it. Ian being a Scottish name, of course. Demand then has to be NED, but remember that extra letter. So need is demand. That's a good short synonym for it. And I'm going to fill in earned. And I'm going to note down this E. So let's have a look here. I've written out a list of the clue numbers. And one down is giving me an E. So I'll put that there. And that's going to help in this message that we get from... Oh, what have I done there? Never mind about that. Sorry, right. Accidentally clicked on the Adobe advert there. Irritating. Okay, so back to these. Maybe I'll do the letters in a bunch so that we don't keep having to click onto the word file there. Right, 11 across has an R in it. I like to use the letters we get to help guide the answers. Pride oneself on remarkable return taken from crazy entrepreneur. Well, pride oneself, I'm thinking about preening. And I think that preen would fit. It's a classic crosswordese word. Yes, and if you take the letters of return, that's why they're remarkable, because they're in a remarkable order. And you take them out of entrepreneur in a crazy order, you will get the letters of preen and an extra E. So we're getting another E. So entrepreneur has 4 E's, preen has 2, and return has 1. Yeah, so there is 1 missing. So we get an extra E from preen. 13 across. Contaminate, untainted swamp. Well, it's another anagram, but a more straightforward one here. So 8-letter answer. Contaminate is too long. It's 11 letters, but untainted is 9. Now that's 1 too long, but we do need an extra letter. So to find a word meaning swamp, because you have to contaminate the letters of untainted, you have to mess with them. And we can get inundate from that with an extra T, I think. So that can go in there. Now 2 down's odd, it ends in EU. Unholy, hide, universal God. Well, Dieu is the French word for God, and I think that gets used in the English dictionary as well. Let's just have a quick look at Chambers to make sure Dieu is in. Yeah, it's given us from the French, but it does mean God, so that's fine. Unholy, so an anagram of hide, and then U, which is an abbreviation for universal, I think in film certificates originally. And we get an extra H from the clue and the answer Dieu. Now 3 down, cluster of flowers, staff planted in short season. Well, your men can be a staff. And an amentum, it's a kind of catkin. Is that a cluster of flowers? Autumn, yes, autumn, without the first, well, the first U is an extra letter. It's a short season because it's been shortened by 1 letter. So the N has come off autumn, and we're left with atum, because the U is an extra letter. Effectively, the clue is cluing, or the wordplay is cluing aumentum, but the answer is amentum. So let's just check the definition of amentum for a cluster of flowers. It's a catkin, which I sort of knew, something hanging off a tree, which is a crowded spike or tuft of small unisexual flowers. There you go. Right, 16 across. SA could be South Africa or South America or South Australia or something else. Nearly losing central duo rejected for slow movements. Well, a slow movement is a lento, so the plural of that's presumably lenti. Why is that SA nearly losing central duo rejected? So itnel would be the answer of something if lenti was rejected, i.e. sent backwards. I don't really know. I'm sure the answer will be lenti, but I'm not understanding it yet. Let's have a look at 4 down. British base cheers shooting Greek character. Well, British can be B. Base can be E. That's from mathematics, the logarithmic base, E. Cheers can be tar. And all of that gives us beta without an extra letter. But now we've got an extra word. So 4 down seems to have this extra word, shooting. It's the 4th word in the clue, and its 4th letter is O. Is that how that works? I think that was how the instruction worked in the preamble. Okay, I don't know really what's going on there. Let's have a look at 9 across. The first clue, heads of zoo train extra keepers for Russian inmate. Well, heads of means look at the first letters, but the first letters of the next few words are Z, T, E, K. We've got an E in the middle of a 3-letter word here. Now, tech or zek with an extra letter. So let's look up zek, which surely is why zoo is there. An inmate of a prison or labour camp in the former USSR. Well done if you knew that. Zek goes in, we get an extra T from the first clue across. Now 5 down with a K in the middle. Uncovered young German noble's instrument. Well, uke is an instrument, a ukulele from Hawaii. Duke is a noble. Oh, what's young in German? Junker. Okay, so if that's uncovered, you take away the first and last letters, you get UNKE. Oh, maybe Junker is a young German noble. So, yeah, a young German noble, Junker. Okay, so there the answer is uke. And we get an extra N. 6 down. Fears socialists gathering at any time. Well, that looks like a word for socialists, which could be reds, and then ever being gathered by that. Revered. Reveres is fears. We get an extra D, and we've put ever in reds, allowing for that extra D. Okay, I'll see if I can go all the way across the top, because if we can do the top half, we'll get quite a lot of the letters in the message in order. One following slavishly, where commanding officer misbehaved. Okay, maybe an anagram of where CO. Echoer. Yeah, that works. One following slavishly, and we get an extra W from that. 7 down. A fresh broadcast bundle. Yeah, another anagram. If we broadcast, I spread around the letters of a fresh. We get sheaf, which is a bundle, and an extra R. 8 down. Dread mistake after first couple of holes. The first couple of letters of holes are HO. A mistake is an error. And if you put them together and ignore an extra E, you get horror, which is dread. Now, 12 across, something ER. Convey sailors aboard iron railway. So sailors can be RN sometimes, maybe. Can also be TARs and ABs. But it could be RN. Aboard iron rail. Oh, ferry with an extra N. So iron is Fe, that's the chemical element. Railway, this is another Ordnance Survey abbreviation, I think, RY. And then it's got RN in it, although the N is now missing. And to ferry somebody across somewhere is convey. Now, it would be nice to understand 16 across, which I think is lenti. SA, nearly losing central duo rejected. SA nearly, so something that's a bit longer, cut off at the end, and then losing its central pair of letters, and then rejected. I just don't know what that SA is. So anyway, 17 across. A tender sent back to frustrate lift supplier. So what? Oh, we've got an F there. A tender. Saw can be tender. Yeah. Aerofoil. To foil is to frustrate. So a saw sent back. There's an extra S in there that we have to take off. But then you get foil and lift supplier. In an aeroplane, it's the aerofoil that gives the plane lift. So, okay, let's go back to the Word document and fill in the extra letters that we've now got. So I'm going to have to try and remember these as we go along. Ah, that's not very helpful. Okay, so let's keep shortening it and moving it. There we go. Right, back to the top. So we had Zek, which there was an extra T in that extra word. It wasn't necessary. Echoer had a W. Preen had an extra E in that entrepreneur anagram. Ferry had an extra N. I'm getting some idea what the first word of this message is. Inundate was from untainted. There's an extra T in that anagram. Now I don't know what lenti is, but I think it's giving me an extra Y. And aerofoil had an extra S. Now the downs, we have to move on to them next. We had one down was an E. We filled that in already. Two down was Dieu. There was an anagram of hide, so there was an extra H. Amentum was using autumn, so that was an extra U. Beta didn't have an extra letter. It had an extra word, which was shooting, and I think gave us an O, if I've understood the instructions. The next one was Uke, which had an extra N in that Junker thing in it. Sheaf was an anagram of afresh. Horror had an extra E. So, O. That's not... I've missed out number 6. Yes, that's better. Which was revere, or ever in reds. So there was an extra D. And that makes more sense. Then we had R, then E. Okay, so we can see that we've got another number here. Something 100 happening there with 20 S at the start. So let us carry on with the clues and trying to solve them and fill in the grid. Now, lenti had an extra Y. Can I understand that yet? SA, nearly losing. Central duo. Okay, if we take the central AR out of nearly, we get NELY. SA is sex appeal. That's something it can be, which is also defined as it, or because it can be a magnetic attraction or something like that. If you have it, you have sex appeal. So it and then LENY, all returned, gives us lenti with the extra Y, which we needed for the message. Okay, that was quite difficult. 19 across. Dog pups yielding 4th pair of obstacles. Yielding. No, dog pups jumping 4th pair of obstacles. Yielding. Supple could mean yielding in the sense of a yielding material or something. So dog, pups, jumping. Oh, I think dog is an extra word here. Pups is jumping. The letters of it are jumping around. The fourth pair of obstacles is not the word letters OB, which is the first pair, or ST or AC. It's LE. Yes, that all gives us supple. And we get an extra word of dog in that clue, rather surprisingly. 20. Especially good piece of amber earring held back. Well, that looks like it will be something hidden in amber earring backwards. AERE. No, rare is especially good. What is so rare as a day in June, for instance? And we get an extra E there. 21 across, ends in M. Oscar donated endless money for ancient series of letters. Well, Ogham is the old Irish alphabet, I think. So Oscar gave endlessly, O-gav, and then money can be abbreviated to M, as in the money supply systems. We get an extra V from the clue, and we've got Ogham as the answer. 12 down. Relaxed and called for annual Cornish celebration. Well, this must be the floral dance. Ah, and there are words that don't fit. Now, the floral dance was made quite famous in the UK at one point because Terry Wogan did a song about it that went to #1. So I know it's an annual Cornish celebration, although I've never seen it or any pictures of it. But, okay, it's an anagram of and called for with an extra D. And I don't know how floral dance is meant to fit in here. 3 letters might be missing. I mean, we could guess what they are, but I'll rather just not enter it for now. And we'll come to that. That must be one of the things referred to in the preamble. We'll come back to the preamble in a bit as well. So, but we do get an extra D there. 15 down. Declines to eat last of puddings. Well, dies is declines. Diet and last of puddings is S, so we get an extra T. I hadn't previously looked at this preamble. It has clockwise characters, doesn't it? Adam, Bert, Sherry, all possible names. Hard to know what's going on there. 14 down begins with dip. They brighten or dim iPads damaged by dangerous women. Some sort of anagram of dim iPads. Is it? Dispat? This is in a symmetrical position to floral dance, so it might be one of the tampered with entries again. And I don't know what the answer is. Let's have a look at 18 down, which begins with L. Head of historic flight was first up to push out litter. Lead is was first. If that's up, it becomes del. So that could give us an extra D. The rest, I do not know what's going on. Head of historic could be the letter H. No idea. Right, we're going to have to approach the bottom half of the grid almost bare. We've just got that S and that G to go, as well as, I don't know, those 3 downs. Floral dance, yes, but I don't know what the other 2 are. 24 across. Hot work 1000 strip off. 1000 can be M or K. Hot can be H, work can be op. None of that really helps. Let's have a look at 22 down. Grand run to look healthy. To glow is to look healthy. Grand can be G. Run. Flow. Yeah, I like that, with an extra F. That's possible. 25, I mean, it's not certain. 25 across begins with an L. Half-hearted Nicola playing like non-professional. Laic is in the manner of a lay person or an amateur. So that's Nicola with half of its heart, so only the C, not the O, and we get an extra N. 29 has an O second letter, quite a long word though. Niche work sculpted and hammered out of stone. Hewn, rock hewn, rock hyphen hewn, hewn out of rock, and that's an anagram of niche work with an extra I. This dip thing hasn't got any easier. Diptychs? Is there a plural diptyches? They brighten or dim. Damaged is such a clear anagram indicator. I still don't know what's going on there. Let's have a look at 26 down with ack at the beginning. Heads away from chimney fire, it could bring down plane. Ack is the British wartime slang for anti-aircraft fire. Oh, sack. Stack. If you take the heads, okay, one synonym for chimney is stack. One synonym for fire in the sense of firing someone from their job is sack. If you take the heads away from stack, sack, you get tack, ack, and that's got an extra T for the answer, ack. That's hard to articulate. Anyway, 30 down, begins with a K. They okay, animated show up in Perth. Okay, anagram of they okay, dropping one letter, the extra one, and it means show up in Perth, so an Australian word for turn up. I don't know what that is. Okaitho? I don't know. 35 across. Run away from peculiar spinning insects. Run away. So the letter R taken away from something meaning peculiar. Strange without its R is stange. Spinning around is E gnats. And I'm going to put in the gnats and take E as the extra letter. 38 across with a C in it. Colonel Henry's left out, crooked notice denying responsibility. Col for Colonel, H for Henry, they're possible. L, Colonel H, the full word Colonel and H, then you leave out L because left is out and it's all crooked, so you've got Kunel H. And we want an anagram of that for a notice denying responsibility. No coal or something. Oh, that's difficult. We're not going to get much help except from this crazy word Kothi or something. Right, let's have another look at 14. Oh, something itches. I don't know, we'll come back to that. Let's have a look at 23 down. Old sign for local market, not square, on post office stand. A pernia is a stand on a table. It would fit. It's a classic crosswordy word. No, Tron is a local market, I think, or mart or souk. I quite like Tron though, but not square means leave out the letter S. Poetron? I don't know what's going on there. Oh, I haven't got much going on. Let's have a look at 27 across. Changed role, looks like an anagram role, accommodating worker. That could be ant or man, in bank possibly. Loner, man or ant actually, both would work. That gives us an extra M or T. Floral dance, C and E can be there. And we're missing out 3 of the letters of ALDA. This looks like elbow at 18 down. Head of historic flight was first led, surely, up to push out litter. bow, to bow, or bow. Why is elbow head of historic flight? I don't know. Let's have a look at 14 down. They brighten or dip switches. Anagram of iPads, although there's an extra A, and then witches are dangerous women. So one of SWIT is in there. One of ALDA is in there. Okay, 31 across. Cloth from Paisley coat. Cloth from Paisley, so from Paisley is a Scottish indicator. Coat and pole initially. Spoils. Oh no, maybe the pole is north or south. Initially spoils is an N. And I don't know what the answer is. Bother. 23 down. Old sign, no, we've looked at that. 33 down. Soften hearts captured by rising need. So H for hearts, that's the suit abbreviation for bridge. Rising need. Want, thaw. Yes, that's soften in metaphorically, and we get an extra N. 24 down. He will shortly counter diabolically. That's hellish. And I think a fish was an old word for a counter. Now these cloths, clute is a Scottish word for a cloth. Extra A, and you've got cot. I don't really know. Maybe that's not right. Clout doesn't work any better. 32. Quiet about utter ruin of joint protection. Tutelage. Quiet. Tutor. Oh, I bet it is tutelage. Don't know why. 37 across. Plant instruments. Viola is a plant, and I suppose violas is an instrument. Gets us an extra S, a little cheaply. Let's have a look at 39 down. Okay, we'll just go down the page to get that. Horse odds cut by agony aunt reviewed. So the odds have been cut out of agony aunt. You're left with GNAN. Review it, and it goes backwards. You get nag with an extra N. 36 down, nearly eking out. Substance for printer must be ink. And an anagram of ekin, which is nearly eking, and you get an extra G. 34 down, edible dormouse. Now I think, I thought that was DOR, but no, it can't be. Primarily sun, roasted under special oil. Oh, an anagram of oil. Primarily roasted, I think Loire, L-O-I-R. What's that? A large European dormouse. There you go. Probably edible. It doesn't say so there. Or I didn't notice it if it did. We get the extra word sun. Quick look at 28 down. He keeps story following Spanish painter. Tale for story. No, I don't know what's happening there. 32 across with tell. Quiet about utter ruin. Oh, patella. Patella, yeah. Utter is tell. Quiet is P. A for about. Tell. Ruin of joint. No, ruin is ma, so we get an extra M. 23 down. Ale pole. That's an old sign for a local. Market, sale, not square, S. On post office, PO, stand, leg. We get an extra G. This 38 across was an anagram. Notchel. I'm going to look that one up. Notchel, I think. And notice that one will not be responsible for another's debts. Okay, didn't know that for sure. Notchel though. Right, let's have a look at what extra letters we've... Oh, hang on, 30 down. Cothy, Kythe. Oh, Perth will be Scotland, obviously not the... Yeah, Kythe, to make note, to show oneself. So to show up. So we get an extra O. Okay, now I don't quite know what these last 2, 3 are over here. These downs are weird. Dip switches, floral dance and elbow, but none of them really work, or they don't fit. Right, 16 across was lenti, and we did work out that needed an extra Y. 19 was supple, which was pups. I can't remember what the extra letter was, something with the LE. Rare had an extra E in it. Ogham had an extra V. Oh, it had an extra word of dog in it, that pups one, that's right. Which was first word in the clue, so probably giving us a D. 24 we haven't done. 25 was laic with an extra N, I remember. Loner was either man or ant, more likely. Yeah, this looks like it's working. 29, rock-hewn had an extra I. 31 we didn't do. 32 was patella with an extra M. 35 is gnats with an extra E. Viola with an extra S. Notchel with an extra E, I think, a kernel. No, an extra O. 39, nag with an extra N. Then we can keep going down the page. Let's see. 27 times 100. I think we know what sort of thing we're getting to here. This is probably why the puzzle's called sum, which in British English can be any maths. It doesn't have to be an adding piece of maths. 12 down. Floral dance. Oh, that had an extra D. Yes, good. Dip switches had an extra A in iPads. 15. Dies had an extra T. 18 is this elbow one that I don't know anything about. 22. Glow, and I thought that was F for flow. 23. Ale pole had an extra G for leg. Ooh, that doesn't look great in the message. 24 was hellfish. It looks worse than ever. 26, but I might have got one of them wrong, was takak. 28 was, we haven't done it, bother. 30. Kythe with an extra O. 33. Thor, which had an extra, can't remember. 34. Loa, that was an extra word, wasn't it? Sun was the extra word. I don't know where it appeared in the clue. I didn't check that. And finally, ink. I can't remember the extra letter there either. So let's check. 18, 28, 33 and 36 down, and 31 across. Oh, don't know that. 18, 28, we haven't solved it. 33, hearts captured by want. So there was an N. Oh, Ekin, an anagram, so an extra E. And 31 across. Oh, we haven't done it. Right, so an extra N and E. Here it is. Oh, unsurprisingly. Right, so our message is 27 times, that must be an extra word in 31, one of the clues we haven't solved, times 100 at 51. So 23 I've got wrong. It's not an extra G. Ale pole. Sale without S. Post office is PO. Oh, stand is lie. If something's lying on something, it's standing on it. I thought that was leg, but okay, that's fine. So that is an extra I instead. Must be 51. So 28 has an extra Y in it. He keeps, or it gives an extra Y. So the Spanish painter is Goya. Without the Y gives us goalie. That's good. He keeps. That's what he does. He keeps goal. And story is lie. That's fine. This must be clute. And it has an extra word in it. Cloth from Paisley. Coat initially is C and spoils is loot. Oh, that's clever. So the extra word is pole. Yeah. Oh, but that's cloth in from, it's the fifth letter. It's the fifth word. Oh, so I've misunderstood how to get these letters. Okay, let's just reread the preamble. The remaining 4 clues contain an extra word that must be removed before solving, which indicates the position of the letter to be chosen from the answer. Aha, that's what I missed. 4th word equals 4th letter. So we had dog, which was the first in supple, so that gives an S. Pole was the 5th in clute, which gives a T. Shooting was the 4th in 4 down beta, which gives an A. And sun, where was that in the clue? That's in 34 down. Edible dorm, 4th of the answer, Loire, so that's an R. Star, they spell out. How are we using that? I don't even remember now. Let's go back and check it again. So, in clue order, these spell out a hint to the characters. What they spell out is this multiplication to the characters who run clockwise around the perimeter of the grid. The remaining 4 clues contain an extra word that must be removed before solving, which indicate the position of the letter to be chosen from the answer. In clue order, these spell out star, what is to be replaced by what in 3 answers. I don't really understand that. Star is to be replaced by star in 3 answers so that they'll fit into the grid. Okay, well, we do the maths now because we know what the sum is. Because that, 15 down, I've written a T, it must be an N. Decline, to dine, not to diet. For eat, that is much more sensible. So 18 down is going to give us a D, 28 down is going to give us a Y, and 24 across is going to give us an E. Oh, hang on a second, I'll be back with you in just a moment. There we go, just saved the PC's life. Right, 27 times 100, 27 times 151. Well, you can do that in your head or plug it into a calculator and you'll get 4077. That is 4077. And if you hadn't previously noticed the connection between the missing letters here and here, which were ALDA and SWIT, you may now be able to connect ALDA and SWIT with 4077. And you may even be able to see some of the characters in the perimeter. So in fact what we have here is, and I may forget this, I think we have radar at the top there. Then we have Burns. Then we have Henry. Trapper down here. We have Hawkeye across the bottom. And all this will be very familiar if you know the sitcom MASH. Hot Lips coming up here. Not sure what the last one is. Now, Swit. Loretta Swit played Hot Lips Houlihan in MASH. And we need to replace a star with a star. So we will put a star in there. We need to replace Alan Alda played Hawkeye. So he's 1 star. So we put a star in to replace the star of the show. Jamie Farr played Radar in almost every episode. And 18 down, this is Elf Arrow actually. So it was lead without its D. And to farrow is to push out a litter of pigs. And an elf arrow, let me just look these up. So a farrow, to give birth to a litter of pigs, and elf arrow, there it is an elf shot, which is a prehistoric flint or stone arrowhead supposed to be used by elves or sickness attributed to it. Incredible, eh? Now, 24 across, hot work, 1000 strip off. Hot can be H. Now, what was the extra letter in 24 across? I need to just finish this off, an E. Work mesh. No, I don't know. Oh, Henry was just the beginning of a character. So who was the character Henry something in MASH? And that was from the first series, wasn't it? So hopefully I have set up Google here. So MASH Henry, let's see, Henry Blake. There we go. Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake. And there he is. So that's what we were looking for there. Go back to that. Let's actually get rid of this page because it's messing up my stuff. And we had worked out what was going on. Here we go. So Henry Blake. Oops, that's taken out my trapper. There we go. And this 24 across, was it husk? Yes, to husk a plant is to strip it off. And the work was use, and then 1000 was K. So that's the answer. Now I wrote an F here, but this elf arrow was the third star, where far got replaced by a star. And then what you can then see, and I think there was a last instruction here, thereby revealing the theme, 7 cells which must be highlighted. So if we look along here, in that section of the grid, we get M star, A star, S star, H, which was how the show was always depicted, as you can see here. So MASH TV series, and as you can see from the title, it was M star, A star, S star, H. There's the original thing. So an absolutely brilliant puzzle that worked on so many levels. It combined the fact that the 3 of the stars of the show, who appeared in almost every episode, had 4-letter names, and they all work there. They get replaced by stars in this final grid, which is really neat, and you get the letters M-A-S-H spelling it out, as well as all these names of very familiar characters to anyone who watched the show, as I used to, in the perimeter. Brilliant puzzle. Well done, Vismut, and great fun to solve. And that is the sort of thing you get in the Magpie. So do give it a go if that's the sort of thing that interests you, and if you'd enjoy solving that. Maybe we'll do some more videos on that sort of thing later. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.